I see we have colleagues who are also in the internet businesses. For instance, Shinto, you work for Google from Indonesia. Having heard what Mr. Gao has introduced, what is your reflection? For instance, when you are talking with policymakers, what are the items that you mentioned, and what are some of the items that will have the most impact on SMEs?
Thank you. It's working?
It's on, yes.
It's on, all right. So basically there are three things that would have, when you talk to policymakers related to digital. I'll go through this one by one, but basically the most important one is infrastructure, because it's the backbone.
Try to keep your microphone closer to your mouth, yeah.
Like this. Obviously, I'm not very good at karaoke, so. Yes, so most important thing is actually infrastructure, because it's the one that's keeping people connected. It helps with the capacity expansions, but it also helps with the cost savings. Now, if you talk about ASEAN, just Indonesia, you're talking about 17,000 islands. However, if you talk about Southeast Asia, and this is the region where the internet penetration actually doubled almost in double digit year on year. And this is the region where the next billion is going to come from this region. But the internet penetration is only around 30 to 40%. Now, another interesting thing about this region, especially when you talk about SMEs, is that it's pretty much a mobile-first region. The numbers is astounding because 81% of people getting online are actually from mobile. 41% is mobile first, and 40% is mobile only. So if we're talking about the future is broadband and infrastructure. The next key item would be talent pool. Southeast Asia, when you talk about Southeast Asia, you're not just talking about the highly industrialized country like Singapore. You're talking also about Cambodia, Myanmar, Indonesia included. And in some of those countries, we found out that only about 22% of the high school graduate actually pursuing higher education. A lot of them know how to use the internet or how to get online, but how to monetize it is another issue. They're also lacking in terms of teacher who actually understand what the web is. Last one would be the regulatory framework. And why I put this on the last one, because when we're talking about SMEs, they're very resilient. When they found out how to go around it, they would go around it. A good regulatory framework would be really helpful to them. But we've seen in a lot of instances, they were able to use e-commerce platform in a very safe manner, although they might not understand what's the regulatory boundaries or the regulatory framework around them.
Very quickly, what is the most effective tool then for the SMEs?
I would say the most effective tools are the tools that are simple.
If you would name one, what comes up on top of your mind?
I would say two things. I
Yes.
would not say one because I think it's a lot more complex than that. But first is the tools that are simple and easy to use. If we're talking about SME, we're talking about SMEs that they want to hire more. When they go online, they usually, their earning capacity increase by 80%. And when they increase their capacity of earning, they increase their capacity of hiring. And when we talk about SMEs, when they hire in their community. So two things is that first, the technology needs to be simple. It needs to be very easy to use. And second, there needs to be a community that can help them because of the lack of talent. Community actually help grooming that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Evan, let me come to you. You work for eBay. What do you think are the public policy challenges facing the SMEs, and what a platform like eBay can offer in helping overcome these challenges?
Yeah, I'm happy to provide some views on that. So maybe just before talking about policy, I think before policy would come partnership in our view. So we've been partnering with the ITC as an example to help small and medium businesses in Africa go live. We're at the start of that process. Within that partnership, the big things that you hear from exporters about are how do I do shipping, how do I do returns, how do I manage VAT and translation within markets, and what companies like eBay an Alibaba can do is to provide that kind of level of support. The important thing for me, though, is that partnership, it needs to provide very grounded, practical advice to sellers. I was speaking to Sri Lankan exporters yesterday. All of the questions were very practical in nature. That's the kind of level of advice that's required, including then some financial incentives. Those make an enormous difference in getting sellers started. On policy, quickly, there are a couple of things we would say are relevant. I'm not a policymaker. I represent businesses, but the following ones I hear regularly. One is about VAT and how to manage VAT if you're shipping into multiple markets. The second one is export administration. We'd like to see simplified. Access to popular payment methods. Think of PayPal, and there are many others. Those aren't easy in all markets, and that's about foreign exchange controls and about regulatory frameworks. And finally, we'd rather like to see duties increased. The point at which duties are paid around the world, we'd like to see those increased. We don't believe, certainly as I've opened up, and eBay has opened up inventory around the world and between markets, we haven't seen high levels of cannibalization of domestic inventory, and we think it's a good reason to open up, to increase duties worldwide.
Okay, we don't really have a representative for policymaker except for the minister who has left. I think we just ask the questions and give them the pressure so that they think about it. But let's come to the education and the training institutions. Let me talk to Mr. Khan, Sabar Khan. You have started 35 companies, 17 education ventures, and training for the digital economy, I believe, is a big part of your job. How do you do it? How do you make this work for the SMEs?
Well, thank you very much. I must say first, in Bangladesh context, there's 170 million people and almost 130 million people use the mobile phone. And the second time, I should say that Bangladesh is one of the most highest number of people, those who use the social networking. In various social networking, they're always, I think, used to. So considering this aspect from our educational venture, that from the creating the new entrepreneur, we took a lot of initiative. First of all, we just developed one course. It's called the Enterprise Guidance Program, which is called EGP. At the same time, that the e-commerce is one of the most important segment now. So that's why we bring our student and we use them to participate in the startup market. Inside the university and also some open places, we invite our student so they can show their strength, how they will demonstrate their product in around in every 3 months. We are organizing around 200 plus young entrepreneurs, the students, they participated. And through this participation, we found that almost 20% they become the successful entrepreneur. And majority of them are using the tools as e-commerce. And of course, as I already mentioned, that social networking is also one of the key tools because they don't need the infrastructure support prior to their business. So they can easily promote their business through the social networking. So that's why we also encourage to establish one department, first time in our country. This is called the Bachelor of Entrepreneurship Department. So we work with the Kaufman Foundation, and with the Kaufman Foundation, they are one of the key players, those who are also working for the entrepreneurship development. At the same time, I should say the government is also very focused. That nowadays the government is also encouraged, and especially the Bangladesh Central Bank, they already allow all mobile operator to grab the market for the mobile payment. So that's why you will be surprised that Bangladesh, right now, the major market share is controlled by the mobile operator. It's called the mobile payment. Is one of the, I think they already own the award from the UN also. It's called the bKash. I think 52% bank users, especially the rural area people, those who do not have the bank account, they are using this mobile payment gateway. So through this mobile account, they easily transfer their money one account to another account. There is a few thousand agents in everywhere. So whoever has the mobile, I think they can easily enter to any of the agent. They can easily transfer their money with this one-time password, or sometimes they have the account also through the mobile. So that's why I should say that the government is also took the initiative to implement the entrepreneurship and the IT technology in the educational sector. And I'm quite sure that our universities also, as I already mentioned, that 20% is becoming the really successful entrepreneur, but somehow they are not able to start their business for infrastructure setup. So that's why from our university, we also set up one business incubator. So through this business incubator, we are found the tremendous response from the student. And at the same time, we are also working with some venture capital company. And you will be happy to know that our Bangladesh Central Bank is also created 14 million US dollar, a small fund for the young entrepreneurs, especially those who are startup company. So they are giving this some loan facility without any collateral. So without any collateral, and 52 bank is already agreed with the Bangladesh Central Bank to promote this young entrepreneur, those who do not have any their collateral. So that's this way I think the Bangladesh governments and at the same time, so I think that from my institute and the education venture, we are trying our level best to promote the small startup, and of course I should say there is a lot of other revenue, as I'm quite sure the ITC is already working hard, because ITC is also one of these organizations who work with the Bangladesh Software Association and the Dhaka Chamber of Commerce to promote the this credit card payment and online payment, so that the young people and the new entrepreneurs, especially the SME sector, could get the benefit from this payment system.
Imagine some young entrepreneurs are seated in the audience or somewhere where they're watching. What would you give them as a quick advice?
Well, I think this, first of all, you need to start through the social networking, because it's easily can get the feedback from the friend, because as I understood, everyone has a lot of follower, lot of these fellow people. So by this way, if they start this small e-commerce site, and they can easily get feedback, the real feedback they will get it, because I must say that the one of the survey we are already found that whichever or who is already started from the social networking, they get the fantastic right response from their friend circle, and then they promote slowly, because few of them, I give them one example, one of our startup market, they started the food marketing to the online. So from their social networking, they start the campaign. So first of all, they do not have any shop outlet. They started from the outsourcing from 3 to 4 company, but now they have 40 outlet in the Dhaka city, because they already set up the huge company. They have the almost 400 plus staff. So that's why I should say the lot of example, due to time constraint, I cannot give all of the example, but I must say that the social networking should be the one of the good tools to start it as a primary level.
So use the existing platforms that are already very useful. Mano, let me come to you and let's talk about the experience here in Sri Lanka. What are the Sri Lankan cases or statistics here? What are the lessons that you have observed and will try to avoid in the future in the training for the digital economy?
Okay, thank you, Jane. If you look at Sri Lanka, I think we started our digital revolution about 15 years ago. And one of the greatest lessons we learned is to share the same vision between private sector and government. And that is very important. And what we did is that we ensured that government drove the industry agenda and to work in hand to build a digital economy for Sri Lanka. Now this has tremendous benefit for us, and the lessons what we have learned is that today the IT BPO industry is become the 5th largest industry in Sri Lanka, right? And it has been a concise effort between government and private sector. One distinguished difference is the government agency, which was responsible for the ICT implementation, was actually run by private sector executives. Not that we don't trust government to run business, but I think it was a more effective way of implementing that. This is one. The second lesson is when we built the knowledge economy, it was built on labor arbitrage. But quickly, we were able to go up the value chain and became not only consumers of technology, but creators of technology. And today you would see whether it's eBay or London Stock Exchange running Sri Lankan technology. And that is vitally important for countries who want to embrace technology, not only to consume technology, but also to be creators. And the third is the most compelling story for us. There's a company in Sri Lanka which has developed a platform connecting high-end fish producers to the high-end Chinese market and through Alibaba. Now, what it allows is that you're creating new business models right? New business models, new markets, which has never been tapped before. And the fundamental underlining of these is disruption. So unless a growing economy cannot disrupt and disrupt the old order, you will never have the benefit. And I think technology, if you use technology correctly, you can see the examples from Airbnb or Uber. Disruption is the key. And for you to fuel disruption, what is so important is to nurture a complete generation of entrepreneurs. And that is what we have done as an industry. We have launched 1,000 entrepreneur startup programs supported by the government and private sector to disrupt every traditional industry or business line. So I think these are the three main lessons.
So again, if there is a Sri Lankan entrepreneur here who is trying to go into the e-business world and tap into the opportunities, what would be the number one advice you would give in terms of receiving training or getting infrastructure or looking for innovative ways?
I think first, for you to be an entrepreneur, you have to take a great risk. You have to stay hungry, follow your passion. But what is more important is the next revolution is going to be imagination economy, which will be based on creativity and imagination. I think, you know, we can have a fantastic platform. The greatest challenge is to build the marketing or the e-marketing to reach to these consumers. And creativity and design will play a great role. So for any entrepreneur today, I think, is to include within your core team designers and creative people. Because at the end of the day, there are so many competitors and you have to stand out. And design will make the difference.
So you need to have the right vision and the strategy
Sure.
for the future. Many thanks, Mano. Now, Kurt, let me come to you. You also have extended experience in helping business perform better. Don't hamper with that. Don't type on it. But how do you see companies can be helped to perform better faced with the opportunity and the challenges of the digital economy? Go ahead. Try again. Yeah.
Technology. Here's an example of technology that
The
doesn't
risks
work.
of technology,
The risks
yes.
of technology. So I'm the founder of a technology company, GT Nexus. Some of the people in the room here may know us as Trade Card. And we have an office, and to your point about the resources here in Sri Lanka, we have an office on the Gaul Road with over 100 people, and we've been here for almost 10 years because of the programmers and the great technical resources that are here. It's a great place to do business. But we've built a platform, not unlike Alibaba, but ours is B2B, not B2C. It's focused on connecting companies together. And we have about 28,000 companies that are connected together on our platform, doing about 400 billion US dollars of trade that we're managing on the platform, and about 40 billion US dollars of payments on the platform. And it's about getting on board. And to tell you how important this technology is, when we first started, one of our early customers was Nike. And we connected them to all of their factories around the world. And their biggest factory is in China that makes sneakers, Pouchen Yuyan. But they also had a factory in Pakistan that made soccer balls. And this was 15 years ago when the internet was young. And by getting them onto the platform, that factory in China was the same as the factory in Pakistan. And what do I mean by that is, the factory in China actually connected electronically between our platform and their back office. The factory in Pakistan didn't even have a computer. So they came to an internet cafe, downloaded their orders, went and manufactured the balls, walked back to the internet cafe, uploaded the invoices, and got paid by Nike. And to Nike, electronically, they looked identical. And that's the power of the internet and the power of platforms that allow you to connect these people together. Another example of how you can use this kind of technology is we work with the IFC, not the ITC, but the IFC, which is a division of the World Bank. And what they do is they have inspection companies go out and grade these factories as A, B, and C for environmental compliance. And then when the orders come to the factories and the factories ship, based on their grade, the IFC will provide funding across our platform to these SMEs in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, China, Vietnam, at preferential lending rates because they have good environmental compliance. And we've turned environmental compliance from a stick, you must get better, to a carrot, if you do better, we can pay you earlier. And so those are just a couple of examples of how this new technology really, as our program is called the door is really wide open. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a company, if you embrace technology, you can fundamentally connect to anyone on the planet and do business with them.
But I have this question here that's provided to me, which asks, which sectors are the one benefiting the most from the digital economy and which sectors are the ones lagging behind and why? So is there a difference? I mean, can some businesses go online easier than the other? Or as you just said, everybody can tap into this opportunity?
I believe, and our experience has been with 28,000 companies connecting, that anybody can do it. And it's less the sector and more the attitude. So, for example, we have some large manufacturers like Polo Ralph Lauren that work on the platform that have companies that they get supply from in Italy. And the Italian small factories that have been in business for 100 years are more reluctant to get onto the internet and connect than the young company that just started in Bangladesh or in Sri Lanka or Pakistan, because they understand they're leapfrogging and using technology to leapfrog. So it's, for us, it's less about sectors and more about attitude and more about the adoption of technology and the willingness to try it.
So that is the opportunity. That is where the opportunity is. I mean, you have a disruption of the traditional strong players who have more advantages, and the newcomers. The newcomers can come well ahead.
It's absolutely a story of disruption, and whether you talk about Uber or whether you talk about the new online universities that are coming, it's all about disruption. And this is an opportunity for us as technology players like our company to enable the disruptors to come forward. And we've seen it with the Industrial Revolution, we've seen it with the steam engine, with electricity. I think the internet is so much more powerful than any of them in their ability to enable disruptors because of the fact that you can connect to everybody on the planet instantly. And that gives you great disruptive power.
Yeah. Really, disruption is the key word, and I can share a little story that I was covering the last WEF, World Economic Forum annual conference in Davos, and I had the opportunity to grab the founder of WEF, Professor Schwab, and I said, Professor Schwab, you talk about the fourth industrial revolution. Give me one word to define that revolution. Without thinking, he said, disruption. So here we are, this word repeatedly mentioned. It's easy to say, but really difficult to ride that tide. Sally, from the case of Argentina, what can you tell us, the success stories and the lessons that you have experienced in training for the online business?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's a real honor to share the panel. As you mentioned before,
Put the microphone, yes.
Yes, sorry. As you mentioned before, we created this company Wormhole to help companies and governments to foster their online trainings. And the reason why we did that, it's when we created the company almost 10 years ago, we realized that the world was changing, the new generations were changing, they were aiming for trainings and development careers, and companies were competing for talent because we all lack of talent. And not only with the next door neighbor, but across the world. Now the world is so globalized that we were competing for talent everywhere. So one of the things that SMEs and companies in general had to do is, in fact, to train their people, and most of them needed to be trained on soft skills, time management, how to sell, how to do several things. So an example of that, we started to work with one also large e-commerce across Latin America called Mercado Libre, which is in fact partner of eBay. And most of the people that sell throughout that e-commerce are SMEs, small people that are artisans or crafters that know how to do great things, but they don't know how to offer those things or how to build a business out of it. So what we did is we start training them and help them on how to do sales, on how to develop a better product, on how to publish and listing their products, and show the world what they were doing. And the results were so impressive. The level of engagement was so huge that they increased their sales throughout the platform, and they even start exporting and having an impact on your social economy. And that's really amazing, because nowadays the knowledge economy in Argentina has become the second export. We are mostly an agricultural country. Sorry, that's the number one, of course. But then now knowledge is the second export. So we are exporting, all the things we know how to do. People are very well educated in our country, so the results are really, really good. And in fact, we're so impressive that the Ministry of Social Development of our country saw what the private sector was doing for the SMEs, which is in fact the heart and the engine of the economy, that they are now starting to develop similar programs, also using our platform, for micro entrepreneurs, people that are starting, that maybe are not going to college or are not finishing their studies, but they know how to do great things and how to do crafts. So in a way to, make them being part of the society. So the results are really, really good, and the more you embrace the technology, the better.
Why is the result so good? I mean, is it because people's urge to learn, to practice, and that you're providing the right service, or do you have innovative solutions catering to this kind of work?
I think it's a combination of both things. I mean, on one hand, Latin America, it's a very entrepreneurial region. We all come from immigrants, and they came after the First or Second World, so they didn't know they have almost anything. When they arrive, they have to create their life there and their families and start from scratch. So I think it's in our DNA. And then also, they are always looking for opportunities. People are always looking for things to do or improve their life. And we still have 30% of our population that are poor. So the way to help them out is not by giving them money and that's it. It's on the contrary, by giving them tools and actually train them and educate them, because education is the only thing that sets you free and gives you opportunities and makes the difference in the long term. So I think that's the reason why we are embracing technology, and even if sometimes we are very reluctant, as he mentioned before, because maybe in our Italian DNA or whatever, we are not so, I don't know if I'm going to do this, I'm scared, I don't know if I can put my credit card online, if someone will steal from me or so. But the truth is that little by little people are, crossing that chasm, and the results are being impressive.
So going forward, you are seeing the same strategy, same path? Or are there any areas that you want to be stronger, or any area you want to avoid?
No, I think we are following the same path. We still have a lot of work to do in the region, and there's a lot of opportunities for us to grow there. And so I think that ITCs and technology and entrepreneurs will be arising all over the world, as he was mentioning before, also in Bangladesh, here in Sri Lanka. All developing countries are, tackling this opportunity and taking advantage of what technology gives us. And I think that that will make a difference, and it's the way to go at least for the next 10 years.
Wow. So finally, let me come back to you, Mr. Gao. You have been hearing our other panelists sharing their experiences in how to tap into the potential and how to address the challenges. Do you have any burning comments you want to make from after what you heard? And what are some of the experiences you can share with us in what we discussed, for instance, in the training of the millions of people who use the Alibaba platform? What kind of training are you providing?
OK， 刚才各位专家讲得非常好，对。
Everyone has been making great speech.
因为在阿里巴巴作为一个商业的生态系统上面，他们每个人讲到的内容，其实我们都遇到过。
Well, as a platform for e-commerce, what everyone have been talking just now, actually we have been discussed inside our company as well.
比方说斯里兰卡的这位协会的主席讲到的， 斯里兰卡自己在建立一个交易的平台方面，那么我们也在各个国家或者是各个地方，中国的各个地方政府，他们也在类似想建自己的平台。
Well, as the chairman from Sri Lanka government, and you said you are trying to have your own platform for e-commerce. Actually, it's the same in my country. We have been studying how we are going to have our own platforms as well.
但是想建平台这件事情其实是蛮挑战的。电子商务能够形成平台的，不会有几家企业，但是利用电子商务的技术去做商品的销售，是可以获得一些成功的。
Well, as a matter of fact, we have to see to build your own platform. It could be really challenge for everyone. Therefore, I would like to suggest that rather than have your own platform of e-commerce, you should use the technology of e-commerce rather than to build your own platform.
像刚才做培训的这位女士讲到的这些内容，其实我们在淘宝上也有一个淘宝大学。那么我们加盟了大概几百家培训机构，来帮助这个1000多万的小企业来教他们用视频、在线的视频和线下的培训，教他们怎么去做网店的销售，让提高他们的营业额。
Consider about the training online. These days, actually, in Alibaba, we have a Taobao University, and where you can learn how to use the website and how to use webcam to do your business. And these days, we have hundreds of trainers with us.
我们很多的平台上的商家都在用谷歌的搜索服务，帮他们来寻找全球的这个客户和消费者。
These days, with our platform, we have a lot of sellers that are using Google to Google the potential resources and the potential suppliers as well.
甚至我们平台上很多商家，他们也在eBay上去开店。
And these days, in a lot of sellers in Taobao, they are also having their online shops with eBay as well.
我想讲的是，互联网的技术使得今天的商业发生了很大的变化，竞争和合作变得更加的紧密。
What I'm trying to say, with the development of the technology, these days we should have close cooperation with our competitors and the people from the same industry.
电子商务在改变传统的商业方面，它是在创造一个新的价值链，或者说它在建立一个更大范围和规模的交易的协作平台。
E-commerce is going to provide a platform with a larger value chain.
所以中小企业加入到这个平台当中来，实际上只要做好自己最擅长的一部分就够了。
Therefore, for those small and medium-sized business, what you can do now with the e-commerce, you only need to focus on what you are good at.
商家找到自己最好的产品和对消费者的自己特定消费者的这个服务，我想把这个做得最好，其他的事情可能交由互联网的平台企业和各种参与协作的这些服务商来完成。
For those sellers, those people who are doing business online, I suggest that they should only focus on their products and services. For the building structure of the platform, please leave the opportunity to those professional companies.
这是我们所看到的一个倾向，不是说阿里巴巴能够包办一切。阿里巴巴今天不去售卖一件商品，阿里巴巴甚至也不送一件货物，因为都把这些服务交由其他的合作伙伴来完成。
Well, I'm saying this because I've been seeing this. As Alibaba, actually we are not selling a single product, and at Mayville, we are not delivering a single product. Actually, we are connecting people and give them the opportunities to sell, to deliver products.
所以要去发展一个很好的电子商务，我觉得重新去划分或者重新去定位这个分工协作体系是非常重要的。不要想自己按照过去工业经济一样的什么都想做。
Therefore, I think we should make clear our work division, and we should focus on what we're good at, and we shouldn't do it through the traditional way. In those ways, we are trying to do everything together by ourselves, but now we shouldn't do that anymore.
我想对于一个地方的政府来讲， 如果要去推动，或者一个国家的政府来讲，去推动电子商务的发展的话，我想我们有一些经验可以去分享。
For the governments who are willing to develop e-commerce, we have a lot of experience to share.
很多发展中国家想自己政府官员自己跳下去推动电子商务，但实际上呢，电子商务真正是靠市场推动起来的。
In many developing countries, many governors, they are thinking about to be the pioneers of e-commerce. Actually, I have to say, they can't be the creator of e-commerce. The marketing is creating the e-commerce.
政府要营造一个发展电子商务很好的环境。
The government, rather than to be the pioneers of the e-commerce, the government are supposed to provide good atmosphere and environment for e-commerce development.
比方说，政府应该推动电信公司去大力的发展它的移动互联网和云计算的基础设施。
Well, for example, governments, they should try to develop policies to encourage those telecommunication companies to provide services in cloud computing.
让更多的人接入到互联网当中来。像中国现在14亿人口，有7亿人口今天接入互联网的。
Today, among 1.4 billion Chinese, half of them today they are using internet.
所以，如果政府能够推动更多的创新者进入市场来创造，那么它就可以去激发这个市场上的活力。而电子商务的发展是市场化的事情，是年轻人的事情，是创造的事情。所以政府应该导向这个方面来，然后它会推动市场的一个发展。
Therefore, the government should put great efforts in encouraging everyone to join the e-commerce field. And then we are going to be really successful.
我想这是想跟大家分享的内容，谢谢。
Many thanks, Mr. Gao. I believe some of our panelists might have something to say, but no time, I'm sorry. I have to open the floor to our participants there. Any question, any comments about what you heard during this panel discussion? Please raise your hand, and now is your opportunity to ask our panelists directly. Anybody? Yes, there's a gentleman over there. Please, do we have a microphone? The gentleman in the front row here. Yes. Please, if you can introduce yourself and keep the question simple and short.
My
Thank
name
you.
is Masood from Pakistan. Very simple question. There are policymakers and there are stakeholders. And they always don't...
Please keep your microphone closer.
Yeah,
Yes.
there are policyholders and there are stakeholders. And they always misunderstand each other. Is there anything magical that you can create to connect their minds so that they begin to understand more each other and make better policies which are implemented also? Can that happen?
Do you address this question to any particular panelist here?
Imagining something by way of innovation that stakeholder and policy makers begin to understand each other better. Can anything be done? Something in your system?
I guess that's an open question. Whoever, yeah, Kurt, please.
Yeah, no, I can't say anything about making policy. I can tell you this. What's worked very well for us, and I think for Google and for eBay and for Alibaba, is if you create a platform or you create a successful business, what the policy will follow. It's not, you don't create government policy to create businesses. You create businesses and then you put appropriate policy in place to make sure that they're run well and to make sure that they're competing well. And what you're seeing up here are a bunch of people doing very successful businesses that didn't create policy, but the policy came behind them. And I think that's the key. And if we try to do it policy first, it will never happen. The world is driven by entrepreneurs that are willing to take risk and create companies, and then the government can support them.
Yeah, I think that was also the main message of Mr. Guo just now when he was making his points. So I hope you're satisfied with the answer. Any other question there? Yes, there's a gentleman in the middle here.
Hello, my name is Imran Khalil. I'm the chairman for Pakistan Sri Lanka Business Council. My question would be directed to two of the participants sitting right next to you. The gentleman from eBay and Alibaba. What are they doing to address the regional trade barriers, and what are their plans for the development?
What trade values, I'm sorry?
What are these two companies doing to address the trade barriers, the regional trade barriers of, let's say, sending their products from one country to another? And also, what are their plans for the developing world, such as Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Iran, Egypt, and so on?
You got the question, I hope? Yep. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So from eBay's side, we've been providing financial incentives, which is about providing exporters around the world with discounted offerings so that you can start to sell around the world at a lower rate to get started than you would normally have. To support what Mr. Gao was saying, the other thing that's very helpful with online marketplaces is you can understand the demand for a product. So data is becoming more transparent in many markets around the world. So for sellers in any country, you can look at the demand and the price points for a product in any corridor that you choose to sell in. And then increasingly what matters, the way the internet is moving, is not just convenience, so having logistics and shipping support, which eBay provides, and a number of other marketplaces, and translation support. It's actually being able to tell the story of your products on the internet. So to brand products in the way that you want to tell the story of Sri Lankan exports, for example, and to decide the way that you are represented on the site. Rather like Mr. Gao was explaining, this isn't about eBay selling products, Alibaba selling products. It's about giving you a platform and data to be able to show your products in the way you want them to be shown. The only other comment I'd make is that technology in e-commerce is moving incredibly quickly. So you look at the market for wearables, for mobile, the number of touch points that consumers have, and then you look at something like the Internet of Things, where products themselves are making orders, not just consumers. Our job as technology companies is to plug SMBs into that environment so that you don't need to invest in the way that larger companies can.
Yes.
OK，我想消除贸易障碍，要从技术和服务，还有政府的管制几个层面去解决。
So I think I'm going to translate for Mr. Gao here. To overcome the obstacles, you need to address it from technology, services, and from the governmental level as well.
阿里巴巴在最近 G20 的会议上提出，要去大力发展世界电子贸易平台，就是 EWTP。
Yes, during the recently concluded G20, Alibaba launched the idea of having a world e-commerce platform.
对，我想建立一个能够覆盖全球的无缝连接的这样一个交易的基础设施，包括支付、金融体系、物流体系和云计算大数据体系，是帮助这个全球贸易和交易很好的完成的一个前提条件。
And I think to build a global platform with the payment method, with the logistics, with the cloud computing technologies, these are prerequisites and preconditions for cross-border digital trade.
过去的贸易是靠跨国企业、跨国公司，他们有比较强大的全球辐射能力来各个国家之间进行贸易的这个买卖。
Traditionally, cross-border trade has been carried out by big multinationals who have the capacity to bring goods and services across borders.
但我们相信，建立互联网的商业基础设施以后，广大的中小企业可以借助这个平台来满全球和卖全球。
So after the e-commerce platform, I believe all the small and medium-sized enterprises will have the opportunity to buy global and sell global.
贸易和零售本身跨境的交易会涉及到政府的监管，所以政府的管制规则随着互联网基础设施的发展，也需要同步去进行规制的提升和升级。
At the same time, these movements will propel the governments in different countries to adjust their relative measures of control, of services, of regulation?
互联网的技术提供了这样的可能，一方面建立买和卖双方的这样的信任体系，另外也对每一个商品的这个跨境流动提供更加强有力的一个监管机制。
So e-commerce has also provided a bigger, what was that again? Say that again.
就是为每一个商品在全球流动提供了一个监管的有效的体系。
Basically, the e-commerce is also providing a regulative mechanism for the global flow of products and services.
我举个例子，就是我们过去是监管一个集装箱，但我们现在是可以对每一件商品进行监管。
Yeah, a quick example. In the past, we trace a container. Now we trace individual products.
所以政府可以非常放手的让这些商品去流动，也能拿到他们的税收。
So governments can have more trust in the flow of these products and also in the fact that they can get their tax returns.
我想技术和这个贸易的进一步发展，会让这样的壁垒进一步的减少。
And I believe that the technology and the volume of such trade will further reduce such obstacles.
杰克马云也进一步去提出来，就是要让这个自由贸易变成人们的基本的一个权利。
And Jack Ma, who is the founder of Alibaba, he also said he wishes to make free trade a basic right of people.
OK， 谢谢。
Thank you very much. So we have about 2-3 minutes. I don't really think we have enough time for another question. Okay, really short. Okay, really short question and really short answer. Otherwise, I will lose my job. That lady over there. Please run. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Really short, please.
Okay, my question is for the Vice President of Alibaba. We know that Morocco and China, talking about policies, Morocco and China have signed a very important agreement. So do you envisage a development strategy in Morocco, specifically because it's this country is considered as a hub for African continent. So are you envisaging a better presence in Morocco and in Africa also to help SMEs in Morocco and Africa develop their exportations? Thank you.
So 是关于中国和摩洛哥之间的电子商务的合作。他想问您在阿里巴巴在这个方面有没有一些计划，有没有一些新的项目，或者怎么看待？
对，
非常简短。
OK， 就是阿里巴巴从2016年开始呢，把中国成功的电子商务实践呢向全球去进行推广。
Since 2016, Alibaba has been promoting China's e-business experience globally.
所以跟很多的国家都在签署类似的协议。
So we have been signing similar agreements with many countries in the world.
我想这是一个卖全球买全球的过程，所以需要更多的人参与。
This is what I call buy global, sell global process, and we want more people to participate.
对，摩洛哥可能是其中的一个国家。
Morocco could be just one of these countries.
我们还会有更多的这个国家和地区，包括斯里兰卡，我们建立更深的合作。
And we're also looking forward to cooperating with more countries, including, for instance, Sri Lanka.
谢谢。
Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we really have to wrap up here as we have a very important guest making his appearance and a very important ceremony to start in just a few moments' time. I have been very honored and I've learned a lot and I hope it has not been a waste of time for our panelists here. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish you all the best in the future. Thank you. Thank you.